afternoon. It's the first Thursday of the month, and thanks for joining us in the kitchen with Across the Fence. Our show today will feature impossible pies and cakes that are made by dumping all the ingredients into a pan and baking. Our chefs have selected some of their favorite recipes for you, so we'll be checking in with Carolyn Peak from Williamstown, along with Deb Plumley and Lynn Jarvis, both from South Hero. While Deb gets her recipes ready, we want to thank you viewers for your kind cards and notes, including one from Cindy Buska of Plainfield, who says she records our show to be sure not to miss it. Margie Fitch from East Calais has watched us for many years and says she has a folder full of our recipes. Rosa Gulia from Wallingford writes that she wishes our In the Kitchen program could be more than once a month. So do I. Cindy Fitzgibbons of Cavendish recently got a computer and now can print our recipes, but she still likes to order by mail to keep in touch. And north of the border, Anna Maria Georges from Saint-Jean-sur-Richelieu of Quebec writes how much the show and the people involved have meant to her over the years. We don't have time to acknowledge all of our viewers, but please know that all of your cards and notes are read and appreciated. Now, Deb's all ready to go with the recipe, so I'll let you have it.
Well, great. Thank you.
Sure.
And I had forgotten all about the impossible pie recipes from the 80s, so this was fun to adapt a few of my favorite recipes to share. I'm going to hold this up a little bit here. This is called Impossible Taco Pie, and it's a little on the healthier side because you use ground turkey instead of the traditional ground beef. So you brown your turkey with some onions until the turkey isn't pink any longer. Stir in an envelope of dry taco seasoning mix. Pour that into your pan and top with a can of drained chilies. Top with a mixture of Bisquick, some shredded cheese, milk, and eggs, and bake in the oven until set about 25 minutes. Top with some more cheese, some chopped tomatoes. Put that back in the oven, let the cheese melt, and voila, you've got a great, satisfying meal that you can have ready on the table in about 35 to 40 minutes. So how super is that? Our next recipe is this impossible vegetable pie. And this is great for nights where you want to have a meatless main dish. Start with 2 cups of cooked vegetables. You can use whatever you have on hand. This happens to use some cauliflower, broccoli, and carrots. You could use asparagus, mushrooms, spinach, zucchini, whatever you have on hand. Put that in the bottom of your pie plate. Add some sautéed onions and peppers. Top with your mixture of Bisquick, milk, egg, shredded cheese, and seasonings, and bake in the oven about 35 minutes. This is a wonderful meal. You can round it out with a salad and some crusty bread. Now, enough of the savory and on to the sweet. Let's start with these some more Brownie Bars. And if my grandson Cole is watching, yes, I will make these for you. The base is incredibly easy. It's a cake mix, a pudding mix, and milk that you blend together. Bake your bars for about 25 minutes. Take it out of the oven. Top it with mini marshmallows, chocolate chips, and broken graham crackers. Slide it back under the broiler and watch this because it doesn't take long, about 30 seconds until your marshmallows are golden brown. Pull that out from the oven, let it cool a little bit and slice, and you've got the flavor of s'mores any time of the year. Set this aside and let's move on to my viewer recipe from Donna Barkham of Colchester. And this is for Donna's caramel apple dump cake. You start with a can of pie filling. I used my own homemade pie filling and it came out just fine. Add some spices. Top with a dry butter pecan cake mix. Add dots of sliced butter, some more chopped pecans, and then put it in the oven until it's nice and brown. That'll take about 35 minutes. And this smells absolutely delicious. It was all I could do when this came out of the oven at home, not to stand there with a spoon and taste it at the time. So I want to thank you, Donna, for sharing this with our viewers today. This is a great recipe, and I hope you all give it a try. My last recipe is a Plumley favorite. It's called One Bowl Darn Good Cake. And I made 2 recipes today just to show you how versatile this recipe can be. So you start with a dry cake mix and a complimentary pudding mix. You add eggs, sour cream, a liquid, vegetable oil, and if you want to add some chocolate chips or nuts or fruit, whatever the choice may be. This happens to be a devil's food cake with a chocolate pudding mix. I used coffee for the liquid and added a tablespoon of dry espresso powder and some chocolate chips. And the other one, the yellow cake, is a lemon cake with vanilla pudding. I used orange juice for the liquid and 1.5 cups of white chips. You bake this in a bundt pan, that seems to work out the best, and you've got a wonderful cake quickly made with a good homemade flavor. So Carolyn, looks like you've got lots to share today.
Oh, don't take those too far away.
We'll just move them to the side and give you some space. How about that?
Okay. Well, I enjoy doing things like dump cakes and impossible pie recipes because they're so quick and so easy, and you don't have a lot of dishes to clean up later on. So I'm going to start over on this end with my impossible pies. This is impossibly easy maple sausage pie, and it's just you cook up some sausage, some onions, and then you make a mixture of the baking mix, milk and eggs. You put some mozzarella cheese on top, and then you put some real maple syrup on it, just a little drizzle, and a few green onion tops. And you've got a really nice breakfast or brunch, whatever you want to fix it for. It's all set to go. My next one is a gluten-free, impossible, easy chicken and broccoli pie. And I made this especially because so many people are going to the gluten-free things now. But again, it's the simple, you put together some broccoli and some cut-up chicken. Then you make your topping of the biscuit mix, the gluten-free biscuit mix, and salt and pepper and milk. Eggs. You're all set. You put some cheese on top, and you've got a really nice, again, brunch or breakfast or a main meal for supper. Now I get to the best stuff, the desserts. And of course, I've got a chocolate one. This is a impossibly easy chocolate coconut pie. You have all your usual suspects in the chocolate in the mixture. Your coconut, baking chocolate, butter, the biscuit mix, eggs, that sort of thing. And you pour it all in the pan, cook it for about 40 to 45 minutes. And I can't wait to try this one. This one has really caught my attention. Now for in the dump cake category, the first one I have is a lemon blueberry dump cake. And this is, you just put your 2 cans of blueberry pie filling in the bottom. You sprinkle on, you don't mix it up, you just sprinkle on the lemon cake mix and 1/2 cup of melted butter and chuck it in the oven, and it makes this fantastic cake. And my last one is red velvet, cherry dump cake. Again, it's just dump the pie filling in the bottom. This time I've used a red velvet cake mix, have some butter, and then you sprinkle the top with coconut, put it in the oven, the coconut browns up beautifully, and you've got a wonderful dessert. These both make a 9 by 13 pan, so you've got lots of it to share or to take to a meeting or whatever, and you'll have friends everywhere.
So Karen, which is your favorite one of the group?
Oh, gosh, I think probably at first this one here would be, but ooh, the chocolate one, I got to try it and find out if I like it because it's chocolate and coconut.
Well, you know, I'm a big fan of cherries and cherry pie, so that would be mine.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
Well, I really enjoyed working on the show today because all the recipes that you've heard are easy to make, and they taste so good. And I'm going to begin with a recipe that uses cornbread, and you regular viewers of In the Kitchen know I'm a big fan of cornbread. And here it is. It's a cornbread topped sloppy Joe casserole, and I'm going to take some out while I tell you a little bit about it. So in the casserole itself, there's some ground beef that you can see there on the bottom, and that's mixed up with tomato sauce, brown sugar, Worcestershire sauce, and then comes the cornbread mix over the top. And when it's almost done, you put some shredded cheddar on top. And doesn't that look good? And you're probably wondering why I have such a small bowl here today. Well, the rest is home in my freezer for later use. It freezes well. This is a great recipe for cooking for 1 or 2. And I know a lot of our viewers like to do that. So that's the reason that it's in a little bit smaller bowl, because I'm going to enjoy this on another day. Well, moving on now to one of my very favorite pudding cake recipes. It's right here. It's my maple pudding cake with cream, and I'll show you how it looks. Now, in the cake itself, you can see it goes into a dish about this size, and the maple syrup goes on the bottom. Over that, the cake ingredients, and finally some light cream. And that all blends together to create the most wonderful maple dessert that you've ever tasted. Now, I have a small bowl here that I've taken out. Let's pour a little of our Vermont maple syrup over that, because that is what really tops this off. And doesn't that look just delicious? And while I'm thinking of it, we want to wish our maple sugar makers a good season, because after all, they're the ones that make Vermont the maple syrup capital of the world, and we appreciate all their hard work. Well, I'm going on to another main dish now. It's my Impossible broccoli and ham pie. Let me put that up here so you can see it. This is very easy to make because all the ingredients do go into this bowl that you can see. It's about a 9-inch and 2 inches in height. And all the ingredients are poured right into this, and that includes ham, broccoli, shredded cheese, and some onion that's held together with Bisquick, milk, and eggs, baked for just about 30 minutes, and it's all ready to go. And what a great idea for lunch or for dinner. And I think this might be good for a potluck or a church supper. It's very easy and very delicious and pretty good for you. There's not a lot of sweets or calories in here. And now this next recipe I found on the computer. I really hadn't heard much about it before, but it's called a magic cake. And why is it called a magic cake? Because you put all the ingredients into the same pan, and it comes out in 3 distinct layers. Now, on the top is the cake, and then there's the lemon filling, and then on the bottom there's the crust, and I think you can see that it's kind of blended together here. But anyway, it's a wonderful cake, and I was going to ask some of our food scientists why these ingredients all blend together to do that, but I decided, why bother with that? Just enjoy it. And this is a great cake to make with your children or your grandchildren or your nieces or your nephews, because they're always excited to see how you put all this batter into the pan and it comes out in these 3 layers. So that might be an idea you want to work with them. Now, another dessert that you pour into the pan, and it's so good. It's something not as nice looking as Carolyn's cherry dessert, but this is called the Cherry Pineapple Cabana Cake. And it's made right in the pan by layering crushed pineapple, cherry pie filling, and then over that you put your yellow cake mix, and then finally some melted butter on that. And it's all topped with crushed pineapple and slivered coconuts and almonds, and it's ready in about an hour. And I really like the flavor of the pineapple and the cherries working together. It makes me think of the tropics, and on these cold winter days, it's wonderful to think about the tropics. Now, my last recipe here for today is one from Karen Gottlieb of Stowe, Vermont. I had lunch with Karen and Jack last week, and she made this dessert. It's one she created herself, and it's her blueberry cranberry cobbler to get rid of those cranberries that you might have kicking around in your refrigerator. In a baking dish, you put your berries, and then you add some sugar, flour, and nutmeg, and then top with dollops of Bisquick. Bake for about 25 minutes. And as you know, cranberries and blueberries are full of antioxidants and vitamin C. So Judy, here's a recipe that's not only good for you, but it tastes just delicious.
It looks beautiful.
Well, thank you.
Wonderful. Well, you can get, if you're interested in getting these recipes, there's always a couple of different ways you can do that. Get them online at the Across the Fence website. Go to uvm.edu/extension and click on the link to Across the Fence. You'll find the recipes on the left-hand side of the web page. To get our recipes by mail, send $2 in a stamped self-addressed business-size envelope to Impossible Pie Recipes, Box 188, South Hero, Vermont 05486. And please remember, if you're ordering the recipes, to include $2 and a stamped self-addressed envelope. That address again is Box 188, South Hero, Vermont 05486, and you'll receive the recipes early next week. Thanks, of course, to our chefs, Carolyn, Lynn, and Deb, along with me, Judy Simpson, wishing you a happy cooking and look forward to seeing you here in the kitchen with Across the Fence the first Thursday of every month.